Back from a trip to Wisconsin, we have a lot to talk about. We've taken in two new clubs, got some new stuff in the shop, and some question answers. All what's next and what's in my drawers golf talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, and this is What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. I said that already because what's in my drawers over in the shop. Why? Because Old Club Makers Club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I am no different. So, what do we do here? We talk about club repairs, club reviews, club fittings, and a lot of stuff that goes on in between. So, let's get started with it, right? So, the golf season. Pardon me, the golf season is still in effect, to an extent, I guess. And Tom Kim is a repeat winner in Las Vegas. Well done for him. And I just happened to be seeing Rod Pampling win and went wire to wire on the seniors tour. A lot of golf being played out there. One of the, so not too bad, right? Not too bad at all. And we enjoy that part of it. So, what are we looking at now? Well, so this weekend, what I do? How I went to Wisconsin. I and the Miss McGolf. So we got kind of a new setup here. Miss McGolf is right there, so that we might hear a little bit of how shall I say it? Peanut gallery. Peanut gallery on me. Anyway, we went to Wisconsin, and it was my niece got married. And it was in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Well, not to be outdone and never just be one thing to do, we decided that we would combine a lot of this into a bit of a weekend trip. So stay with me. It's a bit of a story, and we'll go from there. So the very first thing we did is I'm real big with, as you guys can tell, the golf ball cup, which is a new one for me. This one has the McGolf logo, as you can see right in here, and we put a new golf ball in. It's a Callaway, but it only has one clover, and they're all sticking out to the side. These are rocks glasses made at BenShot. Now we're going to go over that a little bit. Anyway, they're located in Wisconsin. And so we thought, well, we'll order some glasses. And I ordered some glasses for my other crews that are fire department types, emergency response types. And although I don't have one to show you, it did turn out extraordinarily cool. So we decided to go up there and take a trip. Well, if any of you guys have been up through, go up through Chicago up into Wisconsin, how I do it, because my sister, dang it, my sister lives at the very first exit that's off of there into Wisconsin. Well, just past there is a Wisconsin treat known as the Mars Cheese Castle. All right, Mars Cheese Castle. And they don't call it the Cheese Castle for nothing because it looks like a castle. Okay, and this is just a portion of it. All it is, that's just a portion. So by its name, obviously you can tell it sells a lot of cheese. And a guy that works with me is also from Wisconsin, says you got to pick up the cheese curds. So I picked up a bunch of cheese curds, plus some sausage, plus some Kringles, which is basically a smashed Danish for lack of a better term, and a few other items, some hot sauces and things like that. Basically, it was a big tourist attraction, and they got me for about $2, so not too bad. It was very, very nice. And then we made our way up to Appleton, Wisconsin, where, in fact, we see this, and it becomes that. BenShot. All right, BenShot. BenShot's a father-son company that has experienced a truckload of popularity. And it is popular because they make a good product. Now, this being one of them. This is the golf ball glass, obviously, and they make several others, which I'm going to try and show you. So what we do is we see this one. Pardon me. This is a new complex for them. They left a facility that was previously owned by Thomas Edison. And what they did is they took pieces of the brick because it was going to be I imagine, a destroyed building, and they put it up inside their office area and had a guy recreate it to make it look like the old-timey stuff. Looked very, very cool. Very, very nice. So when you walk into said place, you get to see all the patents that making a glass does. So if you look here, there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 16 patents to put a glass together. Not bad. So not too bad at all. Then you get the idea of that they're very patriotic with the this American flag made out of a wooden barrel. I believe it was a bourbon barrel, but so that's what you get. Now, keep in mind what this father and son duo has done is they hire a lot of veterans in order to help produce this. And I got to meet a handful of them, and some of them were still serving, reservist-like type stuff. Very cool, great bunch, very happy bunch of people. It was really quite nice. So just to not belittle the whole thing, I'm just going to go through it very quickly with you. And if you're interested, go to BenShot.com. I don't get any kickback for this. I just think that it's a good father and son thing, and that it's something worth noting. There we go. And so we'll start with this. This right here is the kiln area. So when the glasses are made so this whole thing is made in the USA. The glasses are made in Pennsylvania, and these are the kilns that they get tempered in. The young man right there is one of the reservists, and he was on his way to a 2-week jaunt to learn how to be a firefighter. About that stuff. This is getting on it. So anyway, what happens is you see the 3 items there in the middle, and what he does, he puts the glasses in there. They set for a time, and he pushes a mold, a metal mold with a rod on it in order to pin on what it is. So the mold for this is more of a ball, where for something smaller, it's a thinner rod. And I got to see a few of them, and they're different for each application of whatever they're going to put in the side of the glass. And then once you get it in the side, what they do is they apply a resin, an epoxy that is UV sensitive, and it looks like that. And what they do is they sit in there, and that UV gets in there, and it hardens that epoxy, and it makes it stay in there. Now, I can attest, I've had several of these glasses, and not one of them has decided to come out. Okay. So we got that. So in thinking this is a mom and pop shop, I'm thinking, oh, this is, it's going to be a one room show. And in reality, no, it's not. And that was only one of the rows that was out there. All right. And this is where they package and put all the things. I took the picture because of the wall art that they've got there. The wall art. So they're very, again, of course, they're very patriotic. They do a lot, and they do a lot with the community. If you go on their website, they give to dozens of different organizations, and so it's not just a look at me kind of situation. They're very good about helping the community. All righty, so some of the things, I'm not necessarily about the throwing axe. I wanted to show you the different styles. So on the right there is a beer mug. On the left is a wine glass. This one is a football, but that's the rocks glass. That's what you see. That's what you see right here is the rocks glass. All right. There's one that has a baseball in it with the rocks glass. There's one with a shotgun shell in it, and that's a wine glass. And then there's the thin blue line with a bullet going through it. Now, I want to emphasize in a few things. A lot of those silver things you see are pewter. They're not toys. All right. These things are very, very solid. They have these casts made. They go in, they get approved, then they get shipped over, and then they get hardened or tinned or whatever you want to call it, so they won't patina. So while you're washing these by hand, that they won't rust on you. So they're very, very substantial. All the things that are silver are very, very substantial. Now, these other ones are, when you see something like that, the shotgun glass, or even the ones going further like that one, the bullet glass, the bullets are milled copper. and they're milled in the shape of the caliber that they have, and they have 4 calibers to choose from. I think it's 4. One of them being a 50 cal, the other one being the smallest. I think it was a 9mm. So stuff to choose from. Then they also have a fishing lure, as you can see right there. And so there is plenty to choose from. There's propellers, there's sports, there's the support of the police or the fire department. There's also, they have some specialty ones on there. I'm not going to go through the whole entire list, just to say that they also have these in decanters as well. So you can make gift boxes per se out of them. Now, they do have a sense of humor as well, and they have this, which talks about care and cleaning. And I want to read this. It says, your glass is built to last a lifetime, and you need to go see their guarantee. It is very substantial as well. Just like your love for America and drinking, hand wash only, avoid ice dispensers, microwaves, and clumsy friends. So that was pretty good. And they have the front on the cheers. It's very, very nice. It's a quality piece. I like them, and they're a good bunch of people. Annie was the person that took us around. Had been there a year? Just been there a year, and acted like she was in control of the whole deal. There was nothing that was getting by her. And all the logos get they're laser engraved, and then there was some sandblasting involved too. I'm not sure how all that process works, but I did get to see it. Alrighty. And the last bit on our way back, we had, in the idea that we saw all the tchotchke heaven known as Mars Cheese Castle, went to BenShot, got the watched the niece get married, and oh yeah, we got to. Well, there's a story all its own. And then on the way back, we got to, when they talk about going to see the world's largest ball of yarn, well, we got to go see the world's largest candle. And there it is, the world's largest candle. What is that? It is actually the Warm Glow Candle Company outlet store. It is exactly what you think it is. It is a big, ginormous area that is stuff that's full of candles of different shapes and sizes, anything from like this big around to teeny weeny stuff that goes in the candelabras. I think that's how you say it. And then the things you put, they heat up and make the room smell good. Plus, there's a lot of metal art to be had and things like that. And there's a little, if you want a decent piece of pie, there's a pretty good piece of pie in there too. So there's that. So anyway, the third or fourth story in this whole ordeal is we're in Appleton, and we ate it at a place called Cinders. Very good, by the way. And I get a phone call from the sister, and she says, "Hey, do me a favor." I'm like, "All right, what is it?" And she says, "Pick up the cake." I'm like, picking up the cake, that's not a good thing. And she says, no, go ahead and pick up the cake. Well, keep in mind, our vehicle is just filled to the brim with baby stuff. I mean, we're transferring it over to the family. And I'm like, and we just got a couple of extra boxes of these glasses. Where is it going to go? So in the middle of the pouring rain, Mrs. McGolf and I open up all the doors, rearrange the vehicle, and see what's going on. So the very first thing we get are these cupcakes, and it's a box that's just like forever long. I guarantee you this box was 3 foot long, and it was at least 1.5 feet wide. So we had to rearrange the back end yet again so that we wouldn't tip these over. And then comes the cake. Now I got a space about this big, and that's as big as that doggone box was. So it was perfect. Set it on the back, rearrange some stuff around it to make sure nothing slides and hits this cake, because there's nothing protecting it. It's in the wide open. I'm like, oh, we are in deep, dark trouble. And we got to drive an hour with this thing. Well, as it turns out, the road from Appleton to Stevens Point is the most gentle, easygoing, straight road there ever was. And so we made it all the way there, and the cake survived, everything survived, so it was all good. So end of the story. So congratulations, Emily. Well done on getting married. You too, Jeremy. Good job. Okay. So that was the fun part about it. All righty. So on to the new stuff. All right. So old new stuff. We now have several colors of the divot tool if you're interested. There is red, blue, black, gray, green. Okay. And these are divot tools that have a pencil sharpener on them. And they're from Pitch Fix, so they have that going on. Plus, you have a ball marker. So there it is. Okay. So there's, if you're interested in that. Brand new this morning are, and you guys have seen these before, but we got a new color or two, I think, are the towels. We got a green towel, and all of them are embroidered. They're not they're not like an iron-on or a screenshot or screen silk screening. There we go. These are actually engraved. So we got a green one. We got a black one that everybody seemed to like, a black one. We have a gray one. I like the gray one. There's the gray one. And here's one that you may not see. It's camo. Around here where it's deer season, this thing's a big deal. So a camo one, and then a red one, and I'm not going to wear you out too bad. I got one more left here, and a new color blue. This is more, I think, this kind of a royalish blue, a nice looking blue color. And so we got those as well. If you're interested, let Mrs. McGolf know, and we'll get them done. All right. So what came in? Right? What came in? Cool stuff. Mizuno. Remember I telling you Mizuno released some stuff early? Well, this is no different. Very cool. You can even see the light and the reflection. Isn't that cool? It is the ST200G. There we go. The ST200G. Now, obviously, we're going to do a review on it, but I'm going to give you a few quickies on this. So the inside of this thing is called it's got the Cortex in it, only it's black this time. And you can see where it goes from having the patterns to this piece here. That's a large piece of tungsten in order to keep the ball penetrating and low spinning. This is what's doing all the spin killing, in my opinion. Then, as you can tell, this is a movable weight. Actually, two movable weights, and they're not straight. So the previous model had one that went here. I'm sorry, it went right here in the middle, and then you had two. This one only has two, and they curve, and I think that's a much better idea as far as placement goes. Now, what also has the capabilities here, and I think we need to talk to our rep if we don't have one coming already, is that these weights are only 7.5 grams. So if you put them together, moving it's 15 grams. If you move these and you get them to go in the right spot, then, diametrically, like say you put one here and then you put one here or vice versa, or you do it. If you work them in tandem or exactly opposite of each other, you might get the effect that you're looking for. However, I'm still figuring this part out. If you move them, is it going to be that big of a number? Because you're moving 15 grams. But I'm not so certain about the split. All right, so here's where the big deal is that you can buy more weights for this thing. So if you wanted to make it heavier without getting gross, you could put more weights in there. And that was the discussion I had with them, and in different varieties. They're not all 7.5 gram weights, so you don't like fill up the whole bottom or anything like that. So it has the potential of being pretty cool. Again, adjustable, and there we go. So new to the market. We'll see that one. Now the other one that came with a fairway wood, and that was a right-handed version of that. There is a left-handed version right there, and that is the STG fairway wood. Of course, there's no movable stuff, but there's a fairly substantial plate right here on the bottom, again with the Cortex going on in here. Now, if we look, it is also an adjustable club. The profile on this guy is not bad, right? It's not real thin here. It's got enough to get underneath the ball. Nicely done. And this has got a Callaway 70-gram stiff in it, so we'll see how this works out, and we can change some stuff. So that's a pretty neat little addition, right? Then lastly, I want to show you this. They also changed up the head cover a little bit. They got that light, it's Robin's favorite blue that's in there. So I'm sure she's really digging on that one. And so there we go. Now, Callaway. Callaway is still sending me stuff. I'm still waiting on the Apex stuff. Hoping to get it soon. Is a new Jaws Raw, right? This is Jaws Raw. And if we look at it, it is a full toe Jaws Raw, which I tend to like. And this is called a J grind. All right, a J grind. And I'm not kidding you. It says so right there. J grind. See if I can get in there. There we go. J grind. Now, what is a J grind? Well, I haven't looked it up on the internet yet, or I have been sent a message on it yet, but I can tell you just by looking at it what's going on here. So there's a couple of things. This is what I would call a tour grind of sorts. If you look, you can see just how it's curved out a lot right there, right? So there's a lot of heel removal on this, and then it flattens out. And then if you look, there's a lot of trailing edge removed. So what does that mean? That means, and I haven't even set this thing down yet, but when you have a lot of heel removed, it wants to do this. So you're going to get a lot of open on this. Now, the other thing that's going to work against it is the sole is a little wider. And it's not stupid wide, it's just wider. All right. And so on the original models, the sole was a little thinner and a little more rounder, where this is a little flatter. And if you can see the light reflecting. It's perfect that the front edge has been the leading edge has been killed in order not to turn into a digger. So there is a lot going on that sole. It looks like it'll be able to be opened up. It looks like that if you are in kind of like a fluffy situation, that it would do you very, very well. And it's at 10 degrees, so it's not like a huge bounce out. So it could be very utilitarian. Okay. So we got all that. All right. Did I miss anything else? Oh. And Mrs. McGolf has worked very, very hard at this. And this is for working very, very hard, it is very, very straightforward. And gift cards. Yeah, it's a taste test. A gift card. And so that instead of doing them we've had, since our inception of opening 20 years ago or whatever, we've done everything by paper. Now we can do it by plastic. That's basically the difference. And online, she's telling me. So we're good to go there. Okay. So again, before we get started on all the answers and thus, I appreciate you guys showing up. Remember to hit that like and subscribe. Tell your friends so we can get this out to the YouTube universe and make sure that they understand that we're out here doing some good work for them. All righty. Oh, I think I got it all. All righty. Let's get to the top. Oh, man, we got 80 some. All right, here we go. Matt says, hello, guys. Matt, shot round 71-73 this weekend. Well done, sir. A little bit high for you, isn't it? All right. When is it warranted to go to a lighter weighted shaft in your irons? Ooh, good question. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why we would do this. Number one, you've run into some medical procedure of which the most common for me, and I don't mean like you had a heart attack, although that could happen. I've seen guys that have had half their side of their body, they went into paralysis, the stroke. They've regained momentum and movement and all that other stuff. Just the strength hasn't come back. And the most common for me is rotator cuffs. Okay. Rotator cuffs. So what we're seeing now, it used to be that when you had a rotator cuff, you'd get filleted open or cut a couple of holes and they'd fix you up and it'd be a marked recovery period. And I hate sounding like a doctor or anything, but now what we're seeing is they're being told to do rehab, maybe, and stuff like that, alternates to surgeries. And in every case, you come back tentative because, well, it hurt, right? It hurt. And it comes back tentative. And if you're not feeling like you can get through the ball, a lighter shaft to help you control it and won't jar the muscles nearly as much. That's one reason. Two reasons. Second reason. Two reasons. Second reason is you just got older, right? You got older, and maybe a lighter shaft is the way to go. And pretty much the third reason is if you've been to your first fitting and you thought you were this super aggressive golfer, and it turns out you're not, right? Lighter shafts tend to go with people with more fluid-like swings, and that's so that when they take it back, that they can still find the club and still generate speed, still control it, and still get it going and getting it out there. Okay. Now, can an aggressive guy use a lighter shaft? Yes. However, when you take it back, in a lot of cases, it's going to feel awful. You're going to lose it, and you're going to be hunting for it. And when you bring it back, now, well, how fast is fast, or how aggressive is aggressive? That's the it depends answer. And why is that? Well, if you're an aggressive guy at 18 to 26 is different than an aggressive guy at 65 to 72, right? You might want to pull it back real hard, but maybe you just don't. Or maybe it feels like you are, but you're just not bringing it around. Those are the things. All right, good question. Manuel, what do you say, sir? And the rest of my golf gurus, hope all is well. Same to you, sir. There's Matt talking to Manuel. Manuel talking back. Made some putts. Yeah, a few pointers from me. Awesome. Helen, i.e. Scott, how you doing? I got your so update on Scott's set. Putter's ready to go. Irons are made. I got them bent. I didn't know if I was going to get it all that way, but I got them bent, and all the swing weights are the same, save one club. Now they're sub D. They're like D9, D8. So C, I'm sorry, C9, C8 ish. And what we talked about is Scotty didn't want to put any weight in the hosel for fear of making him turn over. So we're going to apply some lead tape, and I'm only going to go to D0 because of the different shaft that we put in there, Scott. I guarantee you will feel the difference in the heft. All right. Why am I telling you this now? Because when you hit these golf clubs, they didn't have any weight in them, right? I know you like that heavier feel, and I can appreciate that for sure, but let's not go sledgehammer-ish when your swing is very fluid but quick, and we just want to give you that weight so you can track it, not overcompensate. So we're going to add some, just not a ton. Okay. And, Mrs. McGolf says that your club head, your driver, just came in today, and the 52. So we'll be putting all that stuff together. We'll be sending you some shipment notice, so hopefully no later than weeks in. All right, Charlie, 79 with a double bogey. Wow, very good. Excellent. All righty. He says, thanks. Here we go. Was fitting a 13-year-old on Saturday. He had a sweet swing. The issue was his father kept getting in the way, and the dad doesn't play golf, made his son nervous and frustrated. We call that the helicopter dad, not the helicopter mom, but the helicopter dad. Seen that done too, bud. In fact, I've asked the dad to step out of the fitting bay a couple of times. He's like, he's not hitting it as good as he normally does. And I said, I think it might be because dad's watching him and he wants to impress him. Time to go. And he'd walk out and I said, you feeling all right, dude? Yes. And then just start clobbering the ball. So yeah, it happens. It's out there. And it's no fun. However, we do have a 13-year-old girl coming. 13-year-old girl coming who apparently is quite the little golfer, so that ought to be fun. Charlie is saying hello to me and Rabone. Thanks, Matt. There's Peter. How are you, sir? Glad to see you making it back on. And nice rounds. Yes, 75, 80, and 74. My goodness gracious. We made another appointment. Hopefully it will go better. There you go. Everybody's wanting to know if Peter played, because Peter played. I'm guessing we're going to see some scores in the 70s from him. Jim Anderson, thank you for staying up. And it's a chilly Fife of Scotland this time around. Great show and video last week. Thank you. If you guys how'd you guys like that one? That was a review. It was a wedge thing. Yeah, it was very neat. All righty. Scotty, why are golfers affected by the top line on irons? Don't woods and hybrids have large top lines? When I address the ball, I only see the ball, club face. All else I don't see. Well, in reality, Scott, the top line is something that is kind of unique to irons, right? There really isn't a top line on that. Now, there are some markings. I will give you this one. There's markings, there's different paint schemes, and they all have got something along that lines. But something as indifferent as a top line, say, for instance, something like that, right? And what happens is this stuff peeks out from underneath of it sometimes. Some people can get distracted by that, just like they get distracted by the colors on golf shafts. I've had golfers tell me, I fit them into a golf shaft that had this really cool dark blue, and it faded into a silver so that it wasn't distracting at the bottom of the head. But apparently this golfer had a huge wide vision scope and could not take the color change. So we had to do something different. So we do have those things. And I think it becomes a preference thing. Just like we saw with you, what really gets a lot of people is offset. They don't notice it, but they subconsciously will make adjustments to offset. And it's amazing what some people will and will not do. All righty. My dream is to play more than once a week. Nice week, Scotty. There you go. Yep, there we're talking about that. Robin saying hi. TJ, Lexi got really close to making the cut. It was fun to watch. Well, I tell you what, she beat a couple of guys that didn't make the cut. If you look at the score, I think it was all said and done, she was 3 strokes off, right? And I think the first day was really what got her. She shot a 73, and which is probably 2 over, and maybe 3 over. Anyway, she shot 69 the next time around, which was awesome, right? So she still ended up being 3 over, I think, is what the count was. But it still did really, really well. One of only a couple of women to actually break 70 playing. So, hey, we'll take that. We will take that all day. And it was good. It was good to, in reality, I don't think there was a lot of bets of whether or not she would have even made the cut. And this has got cord in it. Nice. That she would even made the cut, and had she had a better first day, a lot of people would have been losing money. But she got in front of a crowd. They brought in the younger generation, and of course some girl golfers, which is a good thing, getting more participation. So if the idea was to put more eyes on the TV or more eyes in the stands or that kind of stuff, great idea. And she wasn't a slouch. She didn't go out there and blow up, which was even a better thing. What I would really watch out for right now is her very next tournament. She's going to go out there and go play, and she's going to go out there and play like she was playing with the boys, and she's going to clean house. You watch. All right. Michael, thank you for staying up again. Jim in a camping trailer. Man, he's watching the live stream. There you go. Now I can say around the world and even in campers. Nicely done. Well done, sir. All righty. Scott plays 3 different courses each week and around different 9 in a month. Look at that. Mr. John, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining. All right. Matt's saying good rounds. There's Jack. Good afternoon. Cold here, getting cold in Lombard. Well, we drove through Illinois, bud, and the day of the wedding, they said it was 50 degrees, but the wind blowing, I guarantee you, it felt like it was closer to 40. And then as the sun was going down, the weather started like typical things do in the fall and winter time. They started getting cooler. And with the wind blowing, it just started cutting through you a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Of course, the youngins, they're all happy to be getting married, and they were jumping around, and nobody cared then. The old timers, they had to go home and go and get out of the weather. But yeah, and it was an outdoor wedding, so just so you know, so it was pretty. I mean, it was fun though. All right. All righty. Rob saying hello. Hello. Victor Perez Jr. What do you say? Good afternoon, sir. How are you? There's Drew Brown. What do I got in the glass, sailor? This would be some 15-year-old Glenfiddich. And I figure we're going to christen the glass with some scotch, which I've always started with. Good to go. I forgot to add one more thing about that. The golf trip, my sister and brother-in-law that live in Indiana, he's a big bourbon guy, and I've been learning the bourbon trade. And he is we'll call him a certified hunter. And as a trade I stumbled onto some rare wild turkey, and he traded for a bottle of Blanton's. I'm thinking I made out on that deal. Mm-hmm. And I got the L. So I learned a lot about the Blanton, all the secrets that go into it. I'm sure I didn't learn them all. And tomorrow's his birthday, so we'll have to say happy birthday to him. And but I walked away with the Blantons. So, and now we're finding out that there's places to stay, like in little cabins that are in the shape of wooden barrels. So that could be fun. We're going to see what we can do. Oh, so I'm talking to everybody. Blang, blang, blang. Scott, I just did. Not as good as your rounds, Matt, but maybe once the club's gym's making arrive. I hope so, man. Hello, Victor. Hey, Jarhead, what's up? What you got in the glass? I also said that one too. Again, 15-year Glenfiddich, man. If you're going to go big. All righty. And it's very smooth too, by the way. All righty. My dog Rex. Hello. It says, hello, students. Thumbs up. Like the video, please. I agree. Thank you. Owned by Thomas Edison. Did it have the original light bulb? I was getting ready. I almost asked that question. It's hard telling what he had in Wisconsin. I won't even begin to guess at what all that was. But what I kept finding out is this Appleton, Miss McGolf tells me, that is the birthplace of Harry Houdini. I said, well, that's different. I would have never guessed that. Also, for those of you that are in the emergency services, emergency responses, that Pierce is in there. And we are only about 5 miles away from one of the largest fire truck manufacturers in the U.S. So there's Appleton, for such what seems to be a nondescript town, has a lot going for it. So it was very, very cool. There you go. Mr. McGolf is echoing my dog Rex. So is Mr. Scott. What you got here? John Jambor, PGA Hope, helping our veterans everywhere. PGA Hope, Western South Dakota. Oh, you're out there. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you for joining. I know it's got to be, it's kind of early for you still, but nice. Well done. All right, Matty Scott, the biggest change from using the new clubs was finding the center a lot more. Took me a while to organize how far chips and half shots went. Have fun with the new sticks. This will be fun. Matt, so don't let Scott fool you. Scotty's got game, man. And I think all we're doing is we are tweaking that a little bit. in order to get him up into the air. I'm here to tell you that the real game changer was when we played around with the shafts. We lightened them a little bit, which will give them a little more head feel. But then once we started doing it, I was watching this late release, and we ended up going from a very stable shaft in the way of graphite to the TZ95 or 85, sorry, TZ85 in the Acra shaft, and the ball just leapt clean off of the club face. And all in the change of shaft is we use the same head, same everything, same golf ball, bam, 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 and all of a sudden, and it took right off. So there is something to be said about having that right transmission in there, right? So there you go. The ones with the bullet in it look really cool. They do, man. Uh they said they have what again, 4 calibers. The 9, they had a 223, they had a 50 cal, and I can't remember if it was a 40. It was another handgun round, a little bit smaller. I think that you may use those uh in the shot glasses. Maybe. I don't know if they do them all in the different ones. I didn't get that forthcoming with them, but it's really really cool. And they also have a setup that looks like a mortar shell, and you tear it down, and it ends up being like a bar. It has cups to mix things in. It has measuring items, glasses to put things in, and it looks like a mortar shell. And I mean, the thing is pretty. It's about 2 foot long, and those are on the website as well. Welcome, Frank. John Timmons, good afternoon. God bless our veterans. Thank you, sir. I agree completely. No, they do not. They do not have a sale of Fairwater Plains. Although I can say that they did have a deal with the Marines, but as we all know, if we know any Marines, they're very feverish when it comes to things that they like. And you put that Marine logo on it, that Marine logo, man. And so they got approved to use the Marine logo. And it's on all their things. And I guess they go through a ton of that stuff. A ton of that stuff. So, of course, I had to ask, what was the most popular glass? And she says, everybody asked me that. And I said, well, good. I'm glad I'm like everybody else. And they also sell on Amazon. And when you get on Amazon, this is the most popular glass, the golf ball rocks glass. When you get back into when people order things, it's kind of a trade-off. I guess the beer mug does pretty good, and then the rocks glass with whatever speciality that they want in it. And typically it's either the bullet or one of the sports things. All right. Thanks, Matt. I will go to my coach and get all my wedge distances down, marked on my clubs. And yeah, I saw him doing that. It was actually pretty cool. That's a Dave Pell's thing. He also recommends that. Hey, Jason, just built my first driver shaft, did the spine flow per your videos. It was a dream to swing. It's a senior flex since I'm injured my rotator cuff. What are you doing, man? Hopefully you can still play. And I mean, he also plays music, so we got to make sure he can do that. So there we go. He just went down, and Jason's a pretty big cat, so for him to go to senior flex, that's something else. All righty. Were they working on the Navy boat model?
They were working on the anchor.
Oh, yeah, they got an anchor coming, and I said that'll be good. They had one for a propeller that a lot of people that were mistaken as like a boat prop, when in reality it's an airplane prop. But when it comes in, oh yeah, the anchor, I think that'll be pretty cool to take off. Brendan Brown, I see Toulon will bringing out new. I see Toulon will be bringing out a new 2024 line. Yes, I don't know if you're going to see a full on overhaul of it, but you'll always see something new. Of course, they're always in that 2-year rotation as well. and this is the time frame for it. So hopefully we see a few other things that make it easier for people to get into. Dennis Hood, hello, sir. Hope all is well. No problem. Mizuno has some new irons out, 241, 43, 45. Players and players distance look so sleek. They do. I have them. I have them come. Well, I have them in here. Huh?
Oh, the newer ones. You
Yeah.
don't have the newest ones.
The 241s?
Yeah.
No, they're not due out till what?
February.
Yeah, they're not too. Anyway, I got to see them. The blade model is not far off from the current model. A little bit more refined, we'll say. And the 243, I think, was a big improver. The just the pure looks of it, and it's just a hair stronger. And then the biggest thing for those of us that are left-handed, the 245, which is their hollow body iron, is now going to be left-handed and have a slightly smaller sole than the very first year. Be very close to the second year. Very, 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 very refined, and it'll be very nice. Get out of here. All right, nice to have a towel in my when it comes. There you go. Box, he says. Sounds good. Robin, how many towels are too many? I have 3. Uh-oh, it's down here later. I gotta look later. Gotta keep going. Kent is in. Divot tools are cracking bits of kit. Yes, they are. I just wish I didn't have to use them so often. Oh my gosh. Did 30 on just one par 3? So that's kind of funny that you mentioned that. When Bob and I go out and we go golfing, these things are a must because a lot of people in our neck of the woods just either do not or do not know how to fix a divot. And there's been many, many times that I've done at least, I've not done all in one ball marks on one hole, but I've done easily 36 ball marks in a round. I get mine and I'll go get 2 more. And because the idea here, guys and gals, is that you use this and it makes it not only good for you, but it makes good for the people that are behind you. So everybody enjoys the round of golf. And I don't understand why more people don't do that. But you're right. Never too many, Matt. One for every outfit. There it goes. Oh, that was a good one. All righty. Eric Hurt. There's a new one. I hit this a few weeks ago. Definitely not for me. Definitely a harder feel off the face versus others. I hit this a few weeks ago. Oh, the driver or the fairway wood? Oh, okay. A little harder off the face, huh? We'll have to see. John Cherry, Lab Golf post on Facebook talked about adding weight to their putter handle. The term counterbalance and counterweight were used. One was saying it's the same thing. Is it the same thing? Counterbalance versus counterweight. Well, when you're talking to Lab Golf, you got to be very, 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 very careful because Lab Golf. I could reach over there and go get it. Anyway, when you're talking counterbalancing is what is the effect from using a weight that is in the counter. All right. I know I'm straddling it, but so what they do is they have a head that they're weighting so that it does like this, and literally they're counterweighting both sides of the head in order to make it happen. That's one. Then what they're doing is if they're putting more weight into the back of the club via a weight, that is called, in my opinion, counterweighting. Okay, counterweighting. Now, is it a counterbalance? Yeah, it could be counterbalancing. When we first started out, we called it counterbalancing by using a counterweight, but I think either one could be interchangeable. All right. Ryan Crow, we got them all here. Matt, I think 2 towels are enough, but I also have 3. Good for you, man. I had 2 and I lost 1, and it was one of my favorite ones with the stars in it. So I'm thinking that a couple of those might make it onto my bag. All righty. Tried a Paradigm X with a stock 6.0 hazardous yesterday. Love to try a few shaft options. Jim, feel I wasn't getting the max out of it. Love the head and the shot shape. For a better player, Brendan, I believe that would be for you, particularly if you're wanting to guard against the draw or the snap hook. This thing is the way to go. If you're a guy that also can find the middle of the club face, this will be way more energetic for certain. Right now, the stock hazardous at 6.0, no, not for you. All right, particularly if you're a stronger golfer. Even though the 6.0 might register as an X flex as a whole, no. What you're probably looking at that they would like that would work well for you, that they offer is number one is the Ventus. Now it's not the Ventus with the Velo core, it's just a stock blue Ventus, but it's the profile on it way better, way better. Or if you're a guy that's fairly aggressive with a late release, don't be afraid to go with the Cali, right? They've got this in their drive. This obviously isn't it, but they got that shaft in their arsenal, and it's a little bit more stiff, so a little bit more control. So if you're one of those guys, that's where I would go, and that's still in their stock lineup without having to go exotic. You can stay in their stock lineup and still get more out of the golf club. Is it good? My guess is I have a fourth. There you go. Well, there'll be plenty to choose from, Matt. All right. TaylorMade released the new MG4 wedges, 8 different grinds, spin machines. Well, there we go. We'll have to see what that's all about. Here we go. Speedway Steve MK2. There you go. Have you fitted any KBS GPS putter shafts? Do you think it's a good option to replace a tri-hot shaft? Replace a tri-hot shaft. I have not. Last time I talked to actually Kim Braley, he was just on the edge of getting ready to have it come out. And he was very, very, very excited about its performance. And he has seen enough and been around long enough that, that if he's getting excited about it, to me, what that means is that it works. Okay, that it works. So I certainly would go with the man who actually created the shaft and say to replace a tri-hot shaft, which is probably a tri-hot. If it's what I'm thinking, it's an old True Temper model. They used to have tri-hots. The change out would be an improvement. So yes, you need a drink. I do. I'm right down at the end. I'm good. I'm a one and done kind of guy, Victor. I don't go past the one. Mostly because I get up at 4:30 in the morning. All righty, but thank you. The Z, what comments would you have about the Maltby playability factor? Is this a good measurement of forgiveness? Most certainly it is. All right. So the Maltby maybe I don't need that drink, Victor. The the Maltby playability factor takes into account measurements. Okay, so it takes into account the face height, the face length, the depth, the where the center of gravity is, the hosel height. There's a lot of measurements of which Mr. Maltby and the people there, probably Pete Callaway and Jim Yanich have helped him quite a bit. Pardon me, and in order to say, okay, what does this height mean in relationship to how forgiving a club is? All right. And for instance, as we all would assume, the further back that the center of gravity goes in a club, the more forgiving it becomes. The further it gets closer, the more you have to be more of a precision ball striker. And we see that. We see that even in these guys, these drivers and whatnot, right? So the ones that are up are spin killers. That's part of the thing, but they also create this boring trajectory, and most of them are not very forgiving from a center of gravity point of view. Now, it's not all of them, but as a whole. In irons, which is where a lot of this comes from, and you also take offset into account. Now, the idea of offset is that with the assumption that most people will slice a golf ball, and that's true. That's a stat that they will slice a golf ball, and so more offset means more forgiving. But all of these are just not, hey, this is a really great idea. I think because I know a lot of stuff, this is the way it was. These things were actually tested by Mr. Maltby and the Maltby crew in order to justify how they make things go. Okay. As a whole. Now, does that mean that it's tried and true for every single golfer out there? The answer is absolutely not. Otherwise, why would you need it? Okay. Well, actually, it would be why not, but and then you wouldn't need anything else. And that's the reason why fittings are important because just like we were talking earlier when Scott was talking about top lines, right? A top line can make you address the golf ball in a different fashion. The offset can make you address the golf ball in a different fashion. The weight, the lie angle, all these different things can come into play. And you go, well, this is not a very forgiving club. Well, it may just not be flat enough or upright enough in setting into a setting to where you can make that contact with them. Okay. But as a whole, it is a great guide to get started for sure. Now, there'll be other people out there that will argue that point, by the way, and most of them are OEMs when their stuff gets into a category that they don't like. Steve Frank, what do you say, sir? Hello from Scottsdale. Well, thank you so very much. All right, good to be here, Robin, as he says. Peter, sorry, missed. Oh, there we go. Michael saying good night. What would be the swing speed for hazardous smoke red 55 5.5? Dude, you could be up as high as into the mid you could be up into the mid 90s with that and go as low as probably into the 80s, just depending on how you swing. D0, good for you. Very well, sir. That's what we will shoot for. No worries, working the night shift, just dipping in and out. Well, thank you, Kent. We appreciate it very much. Charlie saying hello. JS Golfer, good evening from Germany. Any advice? Ha ha ha. There you go, sir. Any advice on starting a club fitting building business? Well, there's plenty. But the biggest thing you really got to know is know your clientele. Although I know the internet has made the world smaller, initially you are going to really, really lean on people in your area. And if people are in your area, say for instance, like here in the U.S., say you go down to the villages where it's a retirement community, it's not going to do any good to stock 8-degree X flexes when all the average age of these golfers are in the late 60s, early 70s. So know your golfers so that you know your gear. The other part is you can never know enough. You can never know enough. Get the education, read the books, get some time, figure it out, and be the expert, right? In your area, be the guy that people want to come talk to and ask those questions about. Be the guy that people will refer you to, that kind of stuff. And lastly, and these are just generality ones, but as I understand it, also you need to know who your suppliers are going to be. Like in Europe, in Europe as a whole, getting things is a lot different there than it is for me here. For me here, I make a handful of phone calls, wham bam, Bob's your uncle, and stuff's standing my way. Where if you buy something where the primary supplier might be in the UK, right? They're like golf. Was it Golf Diamond
Diamond golf.
or Diamond Golf? There you go. Diamond Golf, which is a kind of the UK's version of GolfWorks over here, got a ton of stuff, but you're gonna pay some uh, penalties to get it from here to get it from there to you, and you also got to do that. Now in Germany, I've known a few guys that were in Germany that were making a living out of doing it, and they went with a very high technical, very high end business model, and they were very, very successful. So it just depends on what goes on over there. I can't give you pure business stuff because I am not an expert in Germany in the economics or how people think about stuff. But those are the things you should take into account. But get as much knowledge as you can, get as much experience as you can, and be that person. All right. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Hi, Charlie. Yeah, things are a little crazy here at work. Consultation on shift change again. We only went through it 5 years ago, then 6 months ago. It's a Nestle's for you. There you go. Oh, that's cool. Oh, look at here. That's different. Nick Page sent us $10. Thank you so very much, buddy. I appreciate it. We always get surprised when people do that, and we very much appreciate you. Thank you very much. And he says, I have been refinishing Scotty Cameron putters this year and have a question. What double-sided tape do you prefer behind face inserts? Normally you don't want it to be too that was a question several years back that I saw a guy ask. People were trying to say, "Oh, you put on that carpet tape." Absolutely not. All right. It's too thick. It's too spongy and it gives far too much. All right. The easiest, most reliable stuff, honestly, is the grip tape, the double sided grip tape, the 2-inch stuff. And you put it into the insert and you take an X-Acto knife and you just cut out the extras, pull that out, and put that tape and put it in there and let it set right in there. That way you have 100% application of the tape and you don't get any weebly wobblies. And it's thin enough that it doesn't protrude out of the face. And it just tends to work out really, really, really good. Hopefully that helps. But well done, sir, and thank you so very much. Played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 72, 75, 74. See, I knew you had it in you. Very good, sir. I still talking about that jambalaya, man. That stuff was awesome. All righty. Videos are informative and let you understand the build process. Well, thank you very much. We like that. All righty. Ken said the world's #1 food and beverage, Robin. World's 999 employee relations. Oh, Peter, keep it going. Nice backup with the backup clubs. Yeah. Oh yeah, with his son that's hitting him into he's acing him out. Charlie saying he's knocking him down. Henry Monster, what do you say, sir? And then Robin is responding. Here we go. Jarhead's back. He says, very good, Jim. I'm a bourbon guy myself. Cheers to the Blantons. Yeah. So we are not too far. I don't know where you're at, bud, but we're here in Southern Ohio. So we are only about 3 hours from the actual Bourbon Trail, where the Buffalo Trace, Woodford Reserves, Maker's Mark, I believe Jim Beam, right? Jim Beam are all down in one road, literally. And so you can, if you have the time and energy, you could see a few of them. I don't think you could do them all in one day, but makes for a good trip. And we're finding out Maker's Mark really has a couple of has several neat tours that it looks like that we're going to invest into. So, Peter started using a broom style putter. Here we go. Bill Nauman, what do you say? Hitting my driver, the sound of the ball hitting the face doesn't sound right. Something broke on the inside, he's asking. I don't know. Is it rattling? Or is it rattling? If it's rattling, chances are what that is that in some cases when they make a driver, they got to weld pieces, parts, or glue or whatever, and some of that has broken free. Okay. And what they do is they put in this stuff called rattle stop or rat glue. So if you've got the capability, Bill, what I would do, and it's probably the easiest fix ever, is if you got that butane torch that you see me using, or even a even a hair dryer that gets really really hot, or even a paint stripping gun, and just run it back and forth across the bottom of the club while you're holding it. You're holding it like this, and just run it. You don't have to be up here with it, just enough so that you heat it, right? And just keep it moving like this, and do that for about 30 seconds, so it starts feeling a little warm there. Maybe another 15 after that, and then just tap it, and then see if it'll catch it. Because what you're doing when you warm it up is the rat glue it never really gets hardened. It's this like that gooey stuff like you see on the back of Post-it notes, and there might be like this much in there. When you heat it up, it tends to flow out, and it gets receptive again, and it catches whatever it let go, and you probably have fixed it. If not, let us know. Nope, I got them fixed. That's no problem. That's not on you. That's on me. Past my prime. Been here just now. Signed in. Yes, of course. I hit the like button. You go, man. PZ. Hey, buddy. Sorry I'm late. How did you get broken off wire brush out of an adapter tip? Had it in a drill, and it snapped. Done it before. Had to drill it out in pieces. Ooh. I'm late. Wire brush broken out of a driver adapter. Wire brush out of an adapter tip. Had to drill it, snapped once it's done. Oh, wow. That's a toughie. Depends on how much time you got. One of the ways that you could possibly, and I'm just going to say this is a long shot, is if you had a soldering gun, you take that broken tip and just solder it back onto the end and just use it so it's long enough to pull it back out. That's one. Two is, depending on if there's any piece sticking out, you can use a drill and let the chuck grab on that little bitty piece, because all you got to do is grab it enough to get it turning and get her to pull out. That's the other one, and then you're going to have to manhandle it with a pair of pliers. That'd be my first three. I'm kind of guessing at what I'm looking at here, but that's where I would go with it. And that adapter needs to go back into the head so that you can have some torque, right? So you can grab a hold of it, and that's where that would go. Or put it into a gripping vise so that you don't destroy the adapter. And oh, by the way, sorry we didn't get together, but man, we were moving and shaking, as you can tell. And but thank you for the offer, though. All righty, Charlie, what's your opinion on a hazardous silver shaft? Ever hit one? The only thing I've come across in the silver is the one that Callaway has, and it's the actual silver shaft with white lettering. However, there is another one out there that's black with the silver shaft in it, and I've not hit one of those yet. But we just got one here the other day. It seems to be a little bit more stiff than the actual silver colored shaft, uh, but it's to be kind of the silver. I don't think it's the weakest one by any shape of the imagination, but anything that's in the hazardous line is actually not bad. There's Robin saying the same thing. You got my daughter up and talking about people that don't repair ball marks. It's become a hobby of mine, and my foursome seeing how many we repair. You got my dander up. No, sorry. Yeah, I know, right? I just wish we could all, if we all just went and fixed it, my one day is that me and Bob are going to go out there and we're going to go to a hole and we're going to fix just our ball mark because we can't find any extras. That would be awesome. Ray Farrell's from SoCal. How you doing, Ray? Thank you for joining. All righty. Nick, thank you for the answer. That's what I've been using. Wasn't sure if there was another more preferred option. No, when it comes to that, because it's basically a temporary thing, right? You shouldn't be using this the double-sided tape is to hold it in place, keep it in there, because in a lot of cases, what Scotty's doing is you got to put the screws in the back of it to hold it back on. If you're depending on that by its lonesome, then I would be skeptical, and I would tend to use maybe a dot or two of glue in order to make sure it stayed in. Joel C. is here from Raleigh. Thank you, Joel. Thank you for joining. Willie, after some advice, I've been fitted by Ping to a half-inch under standard shafts. I currently use Ping CFS distance shafts that are a half an inch over standard. Can I just butt these trim an inch? Cheers from the UK. The answer is yes, you can. Willie, you most certainly can. Now, the next question is, what's that going to do to everything? Well, it's going to make the club feel lighter. Okay, obviously lighter. You take an inch off, you're talking about at least 6 swing weight points. So it's going to be noticeably lighter. Okay, noticeably lighter. Now, if you're a smoother swinger, that might actually be a good thing. So what I like telling people that are doing this kind of thing is just make the improvement, go out and play it and see what you think. If you like it, more's the better. If you don't like it, then you can adjust from there. You can do lead tape, you can have the head taken off and put tip weight in, whatever it is that you think it would be best for that golf club. Now, the other part is, is it going to get more flexible? The answer is no, it is not going to get more flexible, not by an appreciable amount, all right? So it's because flexibility is a length versus CPM, or cycles per minute. And when you shorten the club, the cycles will go up. And will it make it stiffer? Again, no. You'll be very, very close, not an appreciable change. So hopefully it works out. David Hanner, what do you say? Just got my hands on an Acra FX 250 driver shaft stiff, looking to control in my paradigm head, swinging the high 90s. What do you think? The 250 is a green one. So yeah, the green one is a pretty good one. And the stiff, it is I'm looking at it because I got a bunch on my wall. It is the mid-flight version. The blue ones are the high flight. Green ones are the mid-flight. Red ones are the low flight. Don't kid yourself. The green one is you can jump on the green one and it'll be fine. So you'll be in good shape. All righty. So with David being there, we got to the end. Hey. So I'm almost getting a different version of this. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so very much. We went from around the world, answered a lot of good questions. The video will not be out tomorrow, but it will be out sometime this week. So keep an eye out if you would, please. And we'll be talking more about the BenShot stuff with the videos that you saw, or with the pictures and videos that we took. And maybe we'll start talking about more of these other clubs that we just got in. So as always, go ahead and take a look. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends so that they can come over and be part of the McGolf clan as well. And as always, let's see your scores go low.